Thank you so much, Clay, for me to join this event. It's my honor to do the presentation regarding the China food security during the US-China trade war fears. It's kind of a little bit like how to change the pages. Oh, let's do it, Mike. Okay. Yeah, this is kind of pretty heavy topic. I think pretty popular in the last few weeks, and everybody here is talking about the trade war between China and the U.S. Yeah, when Mr. Zhou talking in the one dot, rotate the mayor, I think if the U.S. and China, they can rotate the president, we're never going to have this problem happen. Yeah, let's take a look at this time schedule. It's like you can see that from the March 1st, the U.S. planned tariffs on the imports of the steel and aluminum. And then on the March 22nd, the U.S. planned the tariffs on the $50 billion worth of Chinese imports. And then on the April 2nd, China began to fight back. We can see from the beginning, it's very small. The sanctions on the 120 U.S. products worth like only $3 billion, like 15% on the 100 fruits and the nuts and the steel pipes, and the 25% on the pork production products and the recycled aluminum. And it's very interesting. This morning when I opened my computer to take a look of some of the news, I found there's one in Texas, one of the pretty big city. They raised their waste management fee, $3 per month, just because China already began to refuse all the recycles of the plastics and aluminums and something go to China anymore. That's why this cost go to the peoples. We can see its infection right away. So on the, this is on the April 2nd. And on the April 3rd, the president list of the 1,300 Chinese products, it plans to slap with 25% of the tariff, worth like $500 billion. Including industrial robots and telecommunications equipment. This is on the April 3rd. And then on the same day, just right on the same day, I think it's only a few hours later, and China just announcing boosted tariffs on the US goods, including soybean, aircraft, vehicle, worth estimated like $50 billion. Yeah, this is why these three, why they focus on the three items. So in the soybean, U.S. every year they have like 62% of their soybean exporting to China, and China import total like 40% of the soybean that's from the United States, and this is the 140. That's like a 140. $14 billion business. It's the $14 billion business. And the aircraft and the vehicle all plus together almost go to like a the $50 billion business. So after the China announcing this, I think yesterday, the President Donald Trump said, we need to try to find out another $100 billion of the items to try to put a tariff to the China. This is the yesterday. Take the investigation and make some suggestion to find out, is there any items like over $100 billion fight with China again? And in the same day, just like a few hours later, this morning I saw this news. It's showing like China, the Ministry of the Commerce, they have short briefings showing like this. I can read this word for us. If the United States announces a new list of the taxable products worth $100 billion, we will not hesitate to fight back strongly. We do not rule out any option. So it looks like it's getting worse and worse. But let's see what's going to happen for the next step, because U.S. and China is the two biggest countries in the world. In case the trade war happens, who's going to get damaged? I just talked with Clay a few minutes before. The people will get damaged, because we can slowly to review what's going to happen. Let's go, can you go to the next pages? Okay, let's take a look of the fact. 2017, U.S. with China have the import $505 billion, and export $130 billion. The deficit is 375. We can see the US deficit. Where's the laser? Okay, right over here. We can see the US deficit with China is computers and electronics and electrical equipment. And the US surplus with China is the farm crops, transportation equipment, oil and gas. And I just thinking about like if $100 billion come true and China want to fight back, what will be the next one China will fight with the United States? I think it's gonna go to the oil and gas. Looks like right now China and the US only have like $6.9 billion of the imports from the United States for the oil and the gas. But that is for the United States, this is the big strategy in the future. They want to be the #1 exporting the oil and gas. And China is one of the biggest market. Looks right now, the number is very small, but in the future, it's really gonna have the big troubles with it. Okay, let's go to the next pages. Okay, the major US export to China, we can see the China targeting US agriculture products. On April 2nd, it's the fruit, nuts, and pork products, just a little bit testing. On the April 4th, it's go to the soybeans. That's the biggest things. Fear of a trade war is escalation may jeopardize the China's food security. Okay, let's go to the next page. The China food safety and food security, actually this is two concepts. Food safety, we're talking about like some kind of pollution, GMO, and some thinking about like have some like damage to the people's health. And the food security is one of the countries who have enough food for their people. So the China food safety, based on the recent years investigation, is showing like a pretty improved a lot in recent years. You know, what they're doing for the government is like several things they have done with the top-down policies. The first, they have a new pretty powerful administration from the government. It's the Food Safety Commission. They're pretty powerful. And the second is the 2015, the food safety law, and the 20+ other laws is come out. And on the February 2017, China have the 13th five-year plan on the food safety. It's showing the first is like aligning with the international standard. The second is enhancing the samples testing for all types of food. And third is effective governance of resource contamination. And four, establishing the standardized enforcement procedure and risk alert system. So yeah, based on our idea, is like for the food safety, it still happens a lot. We can see that because China is so big. It's very hard for them to control every corner. It's always have something happen, but mostly it doesn't have some big issue. Just like 2008, we still remember the melamine problems. The people just mix the melamine into the milk and cause the kids have the kidney problem. And in China, at that time, they focus on the food safety. Okay, and it goes to the next page. Also, in improving the food safety, and China right now using the blockchain technology, and actually the blockchain technology is kind of complicated, but we thinking about this is like a trustable system to doing that. The first, information cannot be falsified, increasing the supply chain transparency and traceability. Like us, I'm doing the alfalfa business. We have a ranch we have two ranches in Utah, over like 5,000 acres of land. So in our industry, so far we're exporting around like 2 million tons of the alfalfa in China, and pretty lucky. So now we don't have, we're not on the list. That's why it's not compared with the soybean, I'm still kind of a little bit safe. I'm not too sure about the future when this, you know, with this trade war keep going deeper. I'm not sure if I'm be the next victim or not. Yeah, because the food safety is like whenever we produce the alfalfa, compress them and bale them and sleeve them, we always have the barcode on the sleeves. When the alfalfa transport to the China and when the consumer use it, they use the scanner to check the barcode. They can find it out where this alfalfa come from. Where is which state, which cut, what about the nutrition, is how many protein, and how much is the RFV. All of this number can come out directly. So that's make the safety is more reliable. So, and also the customers can look at the details history of the food production. This is what I'm talking about. Meat growing demand of China's middle class. There's like a 550 million by the 2022, you know, the middle class in China. And JD.com began to using the blockchain technologies to track production and the deliver of food production. JD, everybody know this name in China, is Jingdong, so they are, it's a big company. And December on the 2017, the IBM, Walmart, JD.com, and Tsinghua University, they announced the Blockchain Food Safety Alliance collaboration. So February 2018, Alibaba with PCW in Australia and New Zealand on the blockchain project. So all of this is to try to keep the safety of the Chinese food chain. Let's go to the next page. And the China's food security, this is one of the big issues. So when we're talking about like United States, we're always thinking for the IBM, for the NASA, for everything is high tech, is so important for the US. Actually, the US is the biggest agriculture country in the world. If all the world opened the gate to the US, I think it's very hard for them to make a living because the US is the biggest agriculture country in the world. The space I'm thinking is I'm working on this area for so many years. And everybody know that China has 1.3 billion people, but the whole China only have like 1.8 million mu. This is like 300 million acres of the land. So the average per person with the arable land in China is 0.22 acres. In the US, we have 2.6 billion moves of the land, the arable land. And we have only like 3.2, 3.5 billion, the 340 millions of the people over here, that's why. So that's the average per person is 1.16. What we're talking about the food safety, food security is like every person have to have 1 acre of the land. That make it safe. The world average is 0.469. That means China is very low for the food security issue. So that's why China has to import a lot of the grain, the wheat, the soybean, and also the forage from all over the world. Right now from the US, from Brazil, from Argentina. And for the main grain, what we're calling them is like a wheat, rice, all of this, China's still okay with it. That means like for the 1.3 billion people, they're safe on the main grain, the main food. But if the people want to eat more meat and more animals to be, need to have the more of the forage, and then that's where the big trouble. So that's why China every year have to import a lot of the soybean. The soybean is not only for the oil, actually it's the soybean meal. That is the main forage in the China. And I just thinking about like actually this trade war, I talked with Lucy yesterday, and it's very interesting. So right now, this is the global industry. This is the global economy. One issue, you know, just like US have the tariff to China and China have tariff to the US. I give the one number you will understand. It's very interesting. In the China, the top 100 company exporting the most products to the United States. Actually, only 30 of them is from China, it's locally China. And 35 of them is from Taiwan. And 10 of them from the United States. And another 29 is from all over the world. So that means like it's gonna be bother everybody. And the interesting thing is like when the China have the soybean problem and the first one raising the price, yesterday I saw the news, is Cargill. You know the Cargill? This is the biggest headquarters located in Minnesota. They have 23 companies in China. They use most of the soybean in China. So yeah, for this one, because I only have 5 minutes, so I have to keep going forward. Okay, that's if in the China trade will escalate, they have like some stage. The first one, they have to alternate with the sourcing. And the second stage, the consumer have to pay. There's a lot of things issue. The herd of soybean growing states, and you know, in the U.S. gonna lose the job, and the price escalation. Everybody said the U.S. only have 3 million of the farmers. Actually, behind the 3 million farmers, there's like over 10 million of the workers working the farm. And another 5 million of the people, actually, when we have the harvest time, they have to work in the farming also. This is a big number. It's not only like 3 million people. So the new opportunity is on the incorporate the smart technology like sub-pipe watering, and to try to increase the production on the every acres and improve the using the land efficiency and meet China's rising demand for the quality agriculture products. Let's keep going forward. And this is my company. Actually, it's Green Pasture International, Inc. We have like 2 farms in Utah. Both in China and the US, we have like over 10,000 acres of the land. We both produce the alfalfa not only in the US, also in China. That's why when the trade war happening, we have to know what we're gonna do. We can try to use the hay in the US, sell to the dairy farm locally, exporting to the Middle East and also to some other Asia country. But you know, when the China customer need the hay, we have to have the farms in China and then provide them with the stable, the forage. And yeah, this is the big change for my company, and we are doing the hay processing, the forage production, the cattle breeding, organic fertilizing, etc. Just keep going forward. And this is one of our range, actually in the US, pretty high tech. Out of our range of 3,000 acres of this range is all full Wi-Fi coverage. All the pivot, we can check the water from my cell phone, and we can all the land over here in the Utah, 5,000 acres, we only have 6 employees. Yeah, in China, we need hundreds of them. So that's the difference. Okay, keep going forward. And why extend supply chains? Because we have to try to find a way how to skip from the trade war, and we have to hedging against the bilateral trade threat, and GP, or Green Pasture US alfalfa, we're exporting to China, local sales, export to other Asian market and Middle East. And also the China alfalfa, we can local sales, export it to other Asian market and the Middle East. So yeah, to make the risk diversification and taking greater control of the entire forage supply chains. Okay, several pictures of my ranch. It's a beautiful place in Utah. In the Vernal City, around our ranch, there's a dinosaur monument. So everybody over here, if you want to go to our ranch, is more than welcome, because the #1 elk hunting ranch in the Utah. And this is one of it. And next picture, you can see this is the largest pivot in the whole Utah. This one, we have like 12, 13 towers and around like 300 acres for this land. Keep going, and this is our land, and the next one. This is another farm, is Escalante, the Pelican Lake farm. That's #1 fishing, the bluegill fishing farm in the Utah also.